In our series of power, say with me, power. I can hear you. Are you hungry or what? Say with me, power. The reason why you are told to be charged is for you to expect the word. Say with me, power. Come on, say it again. Say power. Shout power. Amen. God made power available for man, knowing that without power, life would be burdened for man. Without power, life would be full of struggle. I've said it, when God created man in his own image, he put man in charge. And it will take you and I to understand what happened then to be able to appropriate it and apply it into our lives. Amen. 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 Come and talk to me, amen. Amen. When God created man, he put man to be in charge of his properties. He put man in the garden. And for man to be able to stand, he gave him dominion over all his creation. Say, I hear. I can hear you. Shout, I hear. So the first part, we look at how man was given dominion over the birds of the air. The second part, we look at how God gave man power over the serpent that creeps every crippled creatures, over the scorpion. The third aspect, we look at how God gave man power over the things in the sea, underneath the earth. In the fourth part, we look at the power of Calvary. How God gave us power through the transaction that took place at Calvary. He took our place in death so that we can have power over death. Are you with me? Amen. He brought the power of the grave so that we may not die untimely. He gave us power through Calvary. Say with me, Calvary. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. You know, there's a song we used to say, cover me, my Lord. Cover me, my Lord. Cover me, my Lord. Under your shelter. The first time I heard that song, I thought we were saying, Calvary, my Lord. Until the day I come to understand that song. Though it was disappointing, but that's the way it should be sung. Calvary, my Lord. Calvary must be part of you. Calvary is not just a place, it's an encounter. Amen. Amen. Without Calvary, you cannot understand the event that makes you and I come back to the garden where we have been chased out. It was Calvary that made it possible for you and I to come back into that garden where man has dominion over everything God ever created. Amen. Amen. Come on, talk to me. Amen. Amen. So this morning, last Sunday, the fifth part, we looked at how God gave you power as a seed to be able to fulfill destiny. Amen. Amen. Come on, talk to me. Shout amen. Amen. Say, I have a seed. I receive. Again. I receive. Again. I receive. Do you agree with me? Yes. You are not just a man. You are not just a woman. You are a seed. That is why in Genesis chapter 3 verse 15, God said, when everything happened that happened, and God came down to say, as his custom is, he comes to have fellowship, communion with man. In the Garden of Eden, he appeared again. And when Adam saw that God is coming, he took off, he ran. And he said, Adam, where are you? He said, when I hear your voice, I was afraid because I was naked. He said, who told you you are naked? And God said, don't you know I know that you will do what I ask you not to do? I know it even from the day I said it. I know you will do it. And that's why I said you will surely die when you eat. But you are still talking. Okay, this is my decision. And God placed a verdict. And he said, the seed of the woman. And I will put enmity, look up, between thee and the woman. That finalize, that, contextualize, that bring to pass what God wants to be in Calvary. I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed, and he shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Calvary. The seed of the woman, you and I are the seed of that woman. Amen.
Amen.
By redemption, when Christ came to redeem us, we became part of the inheritance. We became an heir to that seed of the woman. Are you with me?
Amen.
And that's why Jesus made it possible to ensure that you understand your stand in Him. It's not enough to stand, you must understand your stand in Him. Amen.
Amen.
You are not with me yet. Are you listening to me?
Yes.
The first thing you must understand as a South African citizen is that you have a bad connection. True of us. True of us. There is a what? There is a bad connection. Somebody must bat you. You must be born as a South African. So Jesus, we in Jesus, in Christ, in Romans chapter 5 verse 12 to 14, He came to redeem us into Himself in order to be an heir to that seed. I will put enmity between the seed of the woman and thee. You shall bruise his heel, he will bruise your head.
Amen.
And you know that the poison, the power of every animal is on the head. So Jesus came to Calvary and bruised the head of Satan and the seed of the woman. All the Roman soldiers bruised the heel of Jesus. That solved the equation. So you and I, you ought to understand that we are a seed. Say I'm a seed.
I am a seed.
I can hear you.
I am a seed.
So if you are a seed, then you must understand that there is an enmity between you and the seed of the serpent, the devil. Follow me quickly, because this is the final part which I'll be able to wrap all I've said in this series of power together this morning. Are you ready for it?
Yes.
In Matthew chapter 10 verse 1, Matthew chapter 10 verse 1, He called on the disciples and He gave them power over every unclean spirit. So when He said, behold, I give unto you power, Luke chapter 10 verse 19, He was not giving them power in favor of the enemy. He gave them power against. Power what?
Against.
It is not for decoration. It is against. It is against. So, struggle became man's identity when man fell. We lost access to power. Jesus gave us access to that power, and when He gave us access to that power, it is not for them, it is against them. So there is no way the power you receive will be in the favor of the enemy. And that's why you, as a child of God, you must understand what you have. You must understand that. Many times we don't understand. That's the beginning of our struggle. Why do you need education? Why must you go to school? You do not go to school in order to be a lawyer. Hello? You do not go to school in order to be a doctor. You go to school to understand what it means to be. If you see a lawyer who comes to the bar or to court bringing all the books he read in school, will you even give such a lawyer attention? And by the time you see something, you say, let me check the book, what our lecturer told us about the law of, traffic and penalty. He has to go into the book they taught him 12 years ago. That's not. Have you seen a footballer who wants to score a ball between himself and the goalpost, and he goes to the coach and says, how did you say we should play it again? They would have blown against the isn't it?
Yes.
So whatever the coach taught you then when you are in training has nothing to do when you are face to face with the keeper. So Jesus brought us, and by the time we are in the world, He wants you and I to demonstrate that power, not to decorate it. You can write it all over your body that you are a child of God, but if there is no proof to it, then your stand in God or in Christ is questionable. Psalm 8 verse 2. He said, from the mouth of babes, thou hast ordained strength, and through thy power thou wilt still the avenger and the enemy. Out of the mouth of babes and suckling thou hast ordained strength. Say with me, strength. Out of their mouth. Being a seed, you need to understand your stand in Christ. Because I won't be there when the devil comes to attack you. So what do you need? Say with me, power.
Power.
Again?
Power.
Say it like you mean it.
Power.
I like that one. Say it again.
Power.
Out of the mouth of the suckling, thou hast ordained strength. Look at what David said. Because of thy enemies. So God ordained strength not because of anything. He ordained strength because of thy enemies. Somebody is not with me. Thou mightest still, thou mightest put them under check. Thou mightest, harass them, oppress them, subdue them, dominate them. If you cannot steal, if you cannot dominate your enemy, they will dominate you.
Amen.
Are you with me?
Yes.
Thou hast ordained strength. Why? Because you are a seed. So to every seed, you ordain strength in their through them. Don't forget what I said last Sunday. Every seed in the hands of a sower has the same capacity. Write it down. They have the same capacity. They have the same potential. They have the same destiny. Talk to me. Hello?
Amen.
Same. They can be the same. Why do they have different outcome? Because the moment they leave the hands of the sower, the outcome is no longer the determinant. is no longer to be determined by the sower, but by the condition of the soil through which they are being planted. Hello?
Amen.
So some seed bring forth 100%, some 10%. What is the difference? The soil. So we mean the soil.
Soil.
I can't hear you.
Soil.
I didn't say go and start harassing your parents. But the fact remains that some of you will have been greater than where you are, if not for the soil that you were planted in. I don't think it's in the heart of God to give you a father as a wizard. I don't think God will ever desire to give you a mother as a witch. I don't think God will ever want to plant you among siblings that want to kill you. But the moment he drops that seed, the condition of the soil determines the outcome of that seed.
Amen.
It is now up to the seed to know what to do with his own life. Look at what he said to Abraham. Genesis chapter 12 verse 1. He said, Abraham, look up. I want to bless you, but where you are, your father's house will shock this blessing. Your country will shock this blessing. Your kindred, they will not let this seed to prosper. Now the Lord has said unto Abraham, get thee out of thy country, out of thy kindred, out of thy father's house, unto a land. You see, there is a land God wants to plant you as a seed. Amen. If that land is not in correct position, God has to do something this morning.
Amen.
I can hear your amen to that.
Amen.
I trust God that God will help me this morning to unpack some of this. Because your struggle is enough.
Amen.
I say your struggle is enough.
Amen.
Your tears is enough.
Amen.
God has seen your tears. That's why He put this word in my mouth.
Amen.
That tell her in His power to be fulfilled as His seed.
Amen.
Shall we fulfill destiny?
I will fulfill destiny.
Say it like the minister. I'm a seed and I will fulfill destiny. God is the sower. Write it down. God is the sower. Matthew 13 verse 4 tells us that every sower goes into the field to plant. And in verse 19 the Bible said, and the fowls of the air comes to soak, come to devour that which was planted. So if God is a sower, then you must understand that you are the seed. Say, I'm a seed.
I'm a seed.
Say it like you mean it.
I'm a seed.
I said this here. Please take note. Write it with me. I said everything the sower did was right. The seed in his hands were perfect. There was no imperfection within. Write it down. It was properly so. The problem is the landing spot, the condition of the soil. The what? You did not leave heaven. Are you Kosa Ozu? Kosa. Ish. Thank God I'm not a Kosa. I will have bite all my tongues finish. You didn't bite. You were not clicking that tongues in heaven. Hello?
Amen.
God did not want to, add more to the causes by sending you to the causes. Unfortunately, when you were leaving the shore of heaven to come to the head after fulfilling all righteousness, the next man that were making love that must be pregnant was a causer man. So you enter. Your father and your mother, are you with me? It is not because God wanted to have more. If it is a Chinese man and a woman that is making love at that second, at that one, you would have been a Chinese. Can you imagine yourself now? With this, everybody, and you are now speaking church on time to church in time. So your seed as a man is what determines the battle you face.
Amen.
Don't envy me. Hello?
Amen.
You can't see my breakthroughs and envy it when you have not seen what I've been through. You as a seed in the hands of the sower, everything looks good. The problem is the soil. The what?
The soil.
And I will help you this morning. Genesis 15 verse 13. Are you taking note? Open your Bible there. God said to Abraham, in multiplying I will multiply you. He said, in all that I will do, know for sure that thy seed, that what? Shall be a stranger in the land. So God knows every time he's talking about a seed, more often than not, he's not talking about planting. He's not talking about sowing and reaping. He's not talking about giving and receiving. Most times he's talking about you as a person. You as a what? Look at me. You as a what?
As a person.
You as a person. So God did not take the risk to bless Abraham, even in his father's house, when he knows that for 75 years of his life he has wasted it. When God spoke to Abraham, leave your father's house, leave thy country, leave thy kindred. That point, Abraham was 75 years old with his wife Sarah living in his father's house, and nothing happens. No, it's normal for a 75-year-old man living in his own father's house. Don't landed property anywhere. 75 years old. So God knew that something is wrong with this man, and I need to take him out. Some certain things will not come to you when you have. You need to understand how to be where God wants you to be. Some certain blessings will not come to you when some people are still around you.
Amen.
You wonder why you not being blessed. It is because God wants you to come out of them. Hello?
Amen.
I've been in few places around the world, and anytime I look for South Africans, I hardly find one. By the virtue of your work, you've traveled everywhere, and you know what I'm talking about. You see things beyond just being in Pretoria. So you need to understand there are certain blessings that will not come to you in some certain areas. Take for instance, you were born in Shashanguve, you school in Shashanguve, you marry in Shashanguve, you want to die in Shashanguve. Who did this to you? Every block in Shashanguve, you know it. You were born in Mushongo. You school, Mushongo High School. University of Mushongo, that's where you attended. Your father, your mother, they died in Mushongo. You too want to die as a Mushongoville. Recently, I discovered there is even a White House in Musho. I said, Jesus Christ. White House. You need to learn how to come out from where your ancestors stopped and break the norm. Ensure that it did not end with you the way it ended with them.
Amen.
Say, I hear. That's how to live life. I told you last Sunday, it's not enough to be born by a poor man, but refuse to die poor.
Amen.
It's not wrong for you to be born in a poor house, in a poor family, but refuse to die like that. So if you agree with me, then you must understand. If you agree that you are a seed, you must be aware of the enmity, write it down, between you as a seed and the enemy. There is a perpetual, permanent stand between you and the enemy. He said, I will put enmity. Look up, don't do something else. I will put enmity between thy seed and thy seed. So lack of proper understanding of these have sent so many to their early grave. As a seed, you must understand what is inimical, write it down, to your potential, to your purpose, to your destiny. You must know what is inimical. Studio, you are not with me. You draw me back, studio. You must understand what is the battle line that was drawn. You must understand it in and out. So you as a seed, it is of great value to you. If you don't have an idea, you won't know which enemy to bruise. He said, thou will bruise the head, look at me, and thou will bruise his heel. So if you don't know the enemy against you as a seed, you won't know the enemy to bruise the head. Hello?
Amen.
That is why you come to church. In order to know. Church is a place of understanding. Write it down. Church is a place of knowledge. The Bible said in Psalm 68, let God arise and let his enemies be scattered. So the first question is, does God have enemies?
No.
Does God have enemies?
No.
Do you agree with that? God has enemies. Let God arise and let all his enemies be scattered. Look up. Psalm 68 verse 1. He does. He does have enemies. So you need to know what are those enemies. Let me help you in case you don't understand. Exodus 23 verse 20. Exodus 23 verse 20. Look at what God said to the children of Israel. He said, I will put an angel, Moses, a man of God, a pastor, a shepherd over you. He will go before you. Behold, I send an angel before thee. That's a man God placed among them to bring them out. Look up. He said to keep thee in the way and to bring thee into the place which I have prepared. Verse 21. Verse 21. Studio, please. Let's be smart. Beware of him and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgression, for my name is in him. He said, if you can do this, look at verse 22. He said, I will be an enemy to your enemy. But thou shalt indeed obey his voice and do all that I speak. God speaking through your pastor. God speaking through the shepherd of your soul to your life. He said, when you do that, then I will be an enemy unto thy enemies, and and an adversaries unto the adversaries. When you are a rebellion member or daughter or son, when you are a disobedient, God remove his hands. You become the enemy to your own enemy. But when you obey the voice of your father, of your shepherd, of your pastor, he said, I will be an enemy to your enemy. Amen. He said, be careful that you obey and don't provoke him. Don't provoke. If you do, you will face the consequence. But if you don't, Jehovah will be. That is the only platform God have an enemy. Hello? He said, your enemy will be my enemy.
Yes.
If you can do all that I command through the angel I send among you. So God have an enemy. Number one, you must understand the enemy you have. I said it here in my notes. Let me read it for you. I said, many have come to understand that life is a battle. Life is a what? You understand that, right? Very few don't understand. But many have come to the understanding. But unfortunately, very few knows who the enemy they are fighting. They are just fighting like beating the head. Some of your prayers, if God has answered, some of you will not have been alive. Because sometimes you are the one standing on your own way. Every power on my way, God said, daughter, I won't answer that too. Because this one, what your father said last week, what did you do? God will understand. God said, no, I don't understand. As long as that man is before you, I'm the one standing there. If you don't know the enemy of the seed, look up, then your quest for victory will be useless. You need to understand the enemy. Your enemy as a seed. Say, my father, my father.
My Father,
Arise in your power. And let all my enemies be scattered.
let all my enemies be scattered.
Let God arise and let all his enemies be scattered.
Amen.
There is an enemy of your life as a seed that does not want you to prosper, that want to frustrate you, that wants you to know and come to this world in vain. In Genesis 22 verse 17, I saw it here. Genesis 22 verse 17. God said, in multiplying I will multiply you. In blessing I will bless you. And thy seed shall possess the gate of the enemies. And thy seed shall possess. Look up. And thy seed shall possess. And thy seed shall possess the gate of the enemies. In Psalm 27 verse 5, he said, happy is the man that hath the scripture full of them. They shall speak. They shall not be ashamed, and they shall speak with the enemy at the gate. That is a seed for you. So, possessing the gate, write it down, and understanding the enemy to speak against gives you an advantage, gives you an edge for dominion. You are just waking up, going to work. You don't know what is waiting for you.
Amen.
All you are doing is just to live one day at a time. You will not be able to make meaning out of life. You need to understand the enemies at the gate, and you need to understand how to speak to them at the gate. And that's why some of you are always a fire brigade Christian. Pastor, let's pray. This battle at work, let's kill it. Fire brigade. Only when the fire is coming, that's when you know you have a church. There is a brother in our own church there. Every time I see him in church, I'm always smiling. I know what brought him. Is one problem. Every time he's in church, there's a problem that I must attend to. So one day, after I finished praying for him, I said, may your problem never die. And I said, may he keep coming. He said, Muluti. I said, yes. He said, why do you? I said, because that is what brings you to church, and I want you to be coming to church all the time. He was shocked to his bone. Listen, God is not mocked. Whatsoever you sow, you shall reap. Whatsoever you sow.
Amen.
If God is mocked, then you and I will understand what it means. Attend to that. Look up. Say, I receive.
I receive.
I can't hear you.
I receive.
Shout it like you mean it.
I receive.
So if God have an enemy, then you are not accepted. But the caution is, don't parade yourself as a seed. Don't start going about calling yourself a seed. You must understand. You must have full understanding of what you must do as a seed. Let him come in. What you must do as a seed. You understand what I'm saying now?
Amen.
You must understand what you must do as a seed. You have an identity in God, and you must understand what you as a seed must be. Welcome. So, John chapter 1 verse 12 says, John chapter 1 verse 12 say, to them that receive him, he gave them power to become. To become what he wants you to be. To be what he wants you to be. So God gave you and I power. To them that receive him, to them he gave power to be. Look at me. If you don't have that power, you cannot operate in that dimension. And that's why we always jump at the slightest click of the devil. Because you don't have what it takes to be what God wants you to be. You don't have what it takes. All that you do is aftermath. You are just in fear. So many goes about calling themselves seed, and then the devil ended up calling them off because they don't have the power to be. So Jesus gave us power to be. He ordained strength from the mouth of the suckling, from the mouth of babes, so that they can be in charge. So that they can be in what?
In charge.
So that they can be in what?
In charge.
On God's properties on the earth. You are an ambassador of Christ. You understand what I'm talking about? When an ambassador of Equatorial Guinea is driving on the street of Pretoria, you don't stop him. That is Equatorial Guinea on the move. You don't stop him. You don't stop him. Take for instance, the Nigerian in Nigeria and the Nigeria in South Africa are not the same. They are not. The law that operates in Nigeria does not have a grant to operate in South Africa. I will explain to you. When there's an holiday in Nigeria and then we are going to work here in South Africa, the Nigeria consulate offices around the world shut down. Why? Because there is an holiday where? In Nigeria. Why did they shut down? A Nigerian ambassador to South Africa cannot be paid in rands because that is not his country. If I'm in the embassy of Nigeria in South Africa or anywhere in the world, I'm in Nigeria. You are sleeping. My son Tope was with me when I went to see our Consular General. Look up. From the gate to everywhere, you can see that even the sun is not a South African sun. Even the water there is not a South African water. By virtue of commission, everything there changed. The television they were watching, not a South African station. If a Nigerian should run there, no South African police under his head have the audacity to go and arrest a Nigerian in Nigerian embassy. They will have to use another law to get him out. That is what God wants you and I to be under heaven, on earth here. Are you listening to me?
Amen.
You are an ambassador. An American was arrested in Pretoria West about 2-3 years ago. They arrested him. Within 30 minutes, the whole American gadget, just an American, not a born American, an American by citizenship with everything. You arrest who? We will show you. The only thing that didn't come that day is an helicopter. The whole police station was packed, knowing that an American is in custody here. What a paradox. We show you. Look up. That is the God you serve.
Amen.
He gave you power to become an ambassador on earth. You as a seed. So you need to understand that you are giving weapon as a seed. That's why he said, for the weapon of our warfare are not carnal. 2 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 4. But mighty through God to pulling down strongholds. Ephesians chapter 6 verse 12 says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood. So what does that suggest to you? You have a weapon to fight in a wrestling you are in as a seed. You are in a war, you are in a battle as a seed, and I have made provision for weapon to help you. Look at me. If there were no war, God would not have said, behold, the weapon of our warfare are not carnal. Have you ever seen a child going to school with a gun? You don't go to school with an AK-47. It's not needed in school. And you see the student coming to class, one of the students coming to class with AK-47, and he said, Mama, good morning. The window shall be your exit. Because you are not meant to come to school with a gun. And that is why any nation under heaven has what we call police academy. You won't be part of South African army if you have not been to the army forces or defense, isn't it? Can I apply to be an army? Why? Because I'm a civilian, isn't it? Your bones, your body, part of you tells you are an army. You are a soldier to South African government. I get what I'm saying.
Amen.
The police academy, you go there to be nurtured and be taught everything you need to know as a police. So church is a warfare academy to teach you as a seed on how you can be what God wants you to be. So whatever is fighting you as a seed, today they shall be scattered.
Amen.
I can hear your loud amen to that.
Amen.
So this is what marks the difference between one believer and the other. You will see a believer that is sick and another one that has never known sickness. Knowing the enemy and what to do to possess the gate gives you an edge in the race of life. I will show you quickly 5 enemies of the seed and then give you 1 or 2 keys through which you can battle them. Please follow me keenly. I won't take much of the time we have in our midst. The psalmist are ready to take us into that realm of praise. Amen.
Amen.
Number 1 enemy of the seed is covenant. With me. Say with me, covenant.
Covenant.
I can hear you.
Covenant.
Say it again.
Covenant.
Hello. What did I say?
Covenant.
Say with me, covenant.
Covenant.
One enemy of the seed is covenant. You as a seed, I said to you, the soil, the condition of the soil through which you are planted determines your outcome. And why did God say to him, get out of your father's house? Because something is not wrong there. Something is not right there. Something is not right. Something is not right. If Abraham had said, I want to die here, God would have said, okay, let's see. Look at me. Are you focusing?
Amen.
Looking at the man called Saul, the first king in Israel. The man God himself appointed as a king. The first assignment he has as a king is to fight, to expand the territory. Every king there must fight. So Saul started by fighting the Amorite, the Canaanite, the Jebusite. All the sites in the Bible, he was fighting them. One day, he went beyond his boundary and fought against the Gibeonites. So it made covenant.
Covenant.
Look at me. Saul did not understand the covenant on ground. Because then, as a king, you don't need to fight because they look for your trouble. You are just fighting because it's your hobby. Fighting is part of living. As you are sleeping in your house, you just hear bomb behind your house. Boom, that's bomb. What did I do? There is no need to do anything. I just want to fight you. Can we fight? Did I take your land? It doesn't matter. I want to kill you. When you are going in the morning to go and fetch water in the stream, you will just see armies coming to fight. No. We are just here to fight. And most of the time, in this recent world, they even send a memorandum for fighting. In my mother tongue, it's called Arogo. They send it to you. Sometimes you dream and see some certain things. It's an invitation for battle, but you don't understand. You keep on eating. They have sent and said, hey, we have to start fighting. It is time to fight. Sometimes you can see a sign. Sometimes you can dream some funny dreams, not knowing that it's an invitation for war. So you have to understand that strange signs set in order for the battle to begin. But unfortunately, Saul did not know, because one of the ministry of the prophet is to show you histories that you don't know, that are on ground that will want to destroy you as a seed in your father's house. So the duty of a prophet is not to tell you had apple yesterday. No. Their duty is to tell you what to avoid. Their duty is to tell you what to look up for. Their assignment is to show you. The Bible calls them sign bearers. They are there to say, go this way, don't go that way. Every time there is a battle, before a king embarks on that battle, he goes to the seer, he goes to the prophet to ask, should we go? And if we go, how many days, how many times, what are we to do, what are we not to do? That is the essence of the prophet. Are you with me?
Amen.
So Saul fought against the Gibeonites. You will wonder, why did an evil spirit begin to torment Saul? Who sent this evil spirit? I began to ask myself, why is a king anointed by God start misbehaving, and they needed to call David to the palace to come and be praying for him so that those evil spirits will leave? A whole king, and he will be being tormented and oppressed. Never knew that it was coming from covenant. Say with me, covenant.
Covenant.
I can't hear you.
Covenant.
In Joshua chapter 9, Joshua chapter 9, verse 1. The Gibeonites discovered that with the way God is moving with Joshua, if we do not act, this man called Joshua will come against us and destroy us. So they pretended and deceived Joshua and the elders of Israel. Are you there? When they get there, they pretended as if they were coming from afar. Their shoes, their clothes, their bread, their bottle of water, everything looks so tattered. So tattered. They look so unkempt. And they said to Joshua, we know God is with you. We know God is giving you victory. But please, so that you don't kill us, make a covenant with us that you will not kill us. We are not in the neighboring countries. We are from afar. And we heard what God is doing. That's why we came. The Bible said, and the people of Israel with Joshua, the elders of Israel, never inquire from the Lord. They enter a covenant with them. And they said, we will not kill you. Until one time that Joshua arose to go and fight. And as he knocked on the door of Gibeon, all the Gibeonites he had made covenant with show up. They said, Joshua, we deceive you. We are the Gibeonites. You can't touch them because we have a covenant. And Joshua came back regretting. He came back regretting. And said, okay, we won't kill you, but you'll be our servant forever. You'll be hewers of wood and fetchers of water. Everything was good. Life continued. 400 years later, Saul became a king, and he went and fought against the Gibeonites. And God fought against Saul. In fact, Saul died in the month of Gibeah. Because why? He shed the blood of the Gibeonites. Look up. Write this down. It will help you one day. Covenant equalizes and covenant neutralizes. Covenant equalizes, write it down, and covenant neutralizes. The moment the children of Israel made a covenant with the Gibeonites, the Gibeonites become Israelite, and Israelite become Gibeonite. They become brothers, they become family. In fact, they were even part of the Abrahamic covenant upon them. Why? Because of covenant. Say with me, covenant. I can't hear you. Covenant. That's what happened. Covenant equalizes. You become what you make covenant with. That's why in marriage, two shall become one. You become what you make covenant with. So when Saul went and fought against the Gibeonites, God was angry. God said, what is this? Because many of you will understand and agree with me that as a child of God, you cannot be affected by curses. But the effect of the curses, the consequence of the curses, when you become a child of God, redeemed souls, you are no longer under the curse, because Christ has redeemed us from the curse of the Lord that was made a curse for us, that the blessing of Abraham might come to us. But the effect of the curses can stop you from advancing in life, from going forward in life, from progressing in life, from becoming what God wants you to become. The effect, say with me, the effect. Listen carefully. David went money for Saul. He said, oh Saul, why did you die as if you were not anointed? That is what covenant does. So automatically the Israelites became brothers, bonded with the Gibeonites. How do I know? 2 Samuel chapter 21. Everybody open your Bible there. Come on now. Somebody is sleeping. 2 Samuel 21. Studio. Verse 1. David went to God and started praying, asking God, since I became a king, nothing has happened in my kingdom. What is going on? Are you there? Amen. And there was a famine in the days of David, 3 years, year after year. And David inquired of the Lord, and the Lord said, it is for Saul and for his bloody house, because he slew where? The Gibeonites. He went and slew. I brought this famine not because of you. Some of you are facing financial crisis. Some of you, things are moving in your body. Some of you, your life is under total permanent oppression. Not because of you, but because of what somebody did. He said, it's not you, David. It is Saul and his bloody house. So God said to David what he will do. Look at verse 2. And the king called the Gibeonites and said unto them, now the Gibeonites were not of the children of Israel, because Saul took them out, but of the remnant of the Amorites. And the children of Israel had sworn unto them, and Saul sought to slay them in his zeal to the children of Israel and Judah. Wherefore David, verse 3, said unto the Gibeonites, what shall I do for you? And wherewith shall I make the atonement, that ye may bless the inheritance of the Lord? Look at me. That's why you can't afford to just live your life anyhow. You need to inquire, God, what is going on with me? You can't just wake up and say life is whatever will be. No! David inquired from the Lord, and God said, this is what happened. And David did not continue praying. He went and negotiated. Because there are things you need to go and work out, not just you praying. You need to work out. What do we do? The mistake has been done. What do you want, guys? Verse 3. Wherefore David said unto the Gibeonites, what shall I do? Look at verse 4. And the Gibeonites said unto him, will we have no silver or gold of Saul? We don't want your money, nor of his house. Neither for us shall thou kill any man in Israel. We will not kill you, but this is what we want. And said, what he shall say that I will do for you. What do you want? There is a trouble here. My government is not doing well. There is famine everywhere. What can I do for you guys? Look at verse 5. And they answered the king, the man that consumeth Saul, and that devised against us, that we should be destroyed from the remnant in any of the coasts of Israel. Verse 6. Let 7 men of his sons be delivered unto us, and we will hang them up unto the Lord in Gibeah of Saul, whom the Lord did choose. And the king said, I will give them. We need 7 sons, 7 of his grandchildren. Give them to us. We don't need money, we don't need gold, we don't need silver. Give us, and then we will hang them for the shame of the house of Saul. Then we'll be pleased. David says, is that all you want? Forget it, I'm coming. If you continue reading, you will see where David saved Mephibosheth because he had covenant with his father Jonathan. But every other sons in the house of Saul, he gave them and they hanged them. That was when peace was restored in the land of Israel. So with the covenant. The potency of covenant is no matter the years, it's still standing if nothing is done. Many of you wonder, why is my life like this? You don't know there may be covenant on ground fighting your potential, your purpose, your destiny. Saul, who had the potential to be the number 1 king in Israel, because he did not understand covenant, he went and fought with people he shouldn't have fought with. Many are in church today, but they are facing the consequences of covenant. Proverbs 26 verse 2. Proverbs 26 verse 2. So don't give it to me. He said, a cause costless. He said, as a bird of wandering, as a fly by 26 verse 2. This scripture is one of the most powerful scriptures talking about curses. He said, as a bird by wandering, as a swallow by flying, so the curse, costless, shall not what? Shall not come. A curse that hath no cause shall not happen. So when you are fighting curses, you need to fight the curse of it. Are you listening to me?
Amen.
Come on, talk to me.
Amen.
My mother taught me to keep the smoke, keep the fire. Because you cannot see smoke without the fire. Many of us are fighting the smoke, not minding the fire. The effect of the curses that is making your life like this. Have you ever wondered in your family, what are the do's and don'ts? What are the things that makes that in your family, they say this you don't do, that you don't do, this you don't do, that you don't do. When you are married to our sons, when you have this, when you have that, this is what you must do, this is what you must do. You ask yourself, why? Who put those cultures there? That is the effect of curses. Are you with me? Amen. Those grandchildren of Saul were not the one that made the covenant when Joshua made the covenant with the Gibeonites. Those grandchildren of Saul were not the one that went and fight the Gibeonites, but they are the one paying for it. They were hanged because there is a covenant Joshua and the elders of Israel made with the Gibeonites. It was that same covenant that stood against David and his government. Amen.
Amen.
You wonder why some of the things you are doing, you are struggling. Because our fathers will not tell us everything. They won't tell us. They will tell us. I've seen a woman who is praying, Lord, I need to get married. Oh God, I need to get married. Until God revealed in the place of prayer that there was a time his father, you see all these touts, what do you call them in South Africa? Tortoise, touts, you see. You see, they are almost the same, isn't it?
Amen.
Tout, tortoise. His father was the ringleader of those tortoises then. In Nigeria, in some part of the world, in Nigeria, in the western part, if I'm to go and marry in, say, Pretoria West, the house of my in-law are in Pretoria West, we don't need to drive. They will just get a drummer and a singer, like a local drummer, and then we will all, with my 1,500, all my friends, it's a traditional wedding, right? They will all, whatever we are giving those family as a gift, some women in the family will carry it. Why? They are going to request for a wife for their son. So they will dance and dance and dance. Not knowing, this woman had been praying that many years ago something happened. His father, this lady's father, was the one that led those tortoises, those cows, and they stopped them on the way, took all the food they were going to go and request for a wife for their son. They took the food, took the drinks, took the money, and picked those women and those drummers, and then ran away with it and go and be eating it. The boy, the groom to be, didn't say anything, but the bride in his house said something. I said, the man who did this to the people that are coming to pay my lugulas and all the cultural rights over me, in their father's house, they will never see this happen. This lady was in church speaking in tongues. Never knew that many years ago, his father, out of zeal, has provoked some certain curses from a woman. You as a seed, that covenant, if you don't deliberately, practically, specifically break them, you can't see anything. Because those covenants have potency. Are you with me?
Amen.
In some part of Africa, they used to kill twins. Are you aware? Even in this present age. The last time I was in Swaziland, I saw ladies with nothing. The way God created them. I said, blood of Jesus, deliver me. In this present generation, are you with me?
Amen.
Some certain things in your father's house. Listen to me. The effect of the curse has never made any snake to grow legs. A curse came, but there is no way you will see a snake standing on his leg anymore. They used to stand. But the curse that was placed on it removed permanently for a serpent to grow legs. Beloved, don't take for granted. That is why we are here today, to break some certain covenant. Amen. That have made your seed not to prosper. Amen. You want to be great, right?
Amen.
Talk to me.
Amen.
Do you understand what I just explained to you?
Amen.
Saul broke a covenant God made with the Gibeonites, thinking that Gibeonites are not part of Israel. Can I shock you? Look at me. When covenants stand between the Gibeonites and the Israelites, some nations around heard what the Gibeonites did, and they said, oh, you two, you have joined forces with the Israelites. Then they came and fought the Gibeonites, other nations. Look at me. Before you know it, Joshua rose up to go and fight. It is not the fight of Israel. Why do you need to go and fight? God has Joshua. He said, as much as we have made covenant with them, their fight becomes our fight. And God said, if you say so, me too, I'm going with you. God joined Joshua in that fight against the enemy of the Gibeonites. Even the sun, the moon, the stars, they also came. That was when Joshua commanded the sun to stand still against the Gibeonites. It was not the fight of Israel. Because that is the power and the potency of covenant. You become what you enter covenant with. Hello?
Amen.
3 things you must never forget in your life. 3 things. What you have done in the past. You as a man, look up, look at me. You as a woman, you have been dating or you have just started dating, you must know that everything you do, there's a covenant. When you are telling that guy, you know, the day I stop loving you, let my things not go well. All in the name of love. But after that, the love scattered. You are now in Victoria. He is in Porchistroom or Bella Bella. You are no longer together. But what you said there is still standing. You didn't take time to break it. In fact, some of you have kids. You have kids with her. You have kids with him. And you are no longer together. You have not really taken time to break that covenant. And you want to be happy in life. I promise you, it won't be happy. You won't. You need to specifically break that covenant. Are you with me?
Amen.
There was a woman in the Bible. Look at me. He married the elder brother. The elder brother died. The second brother married her. That one too died. You know the story? I've told you here over and over. The second one died. The third one died. The fourth one died. The fifth one died. The sixth one died. The mother was still looking. Even the one that when this woman came to the family, they just gave birth to this boy. He also married him. He also married the boy. And the boy died. The seventh one died. Then she now died. So with the covenant.
Amen.
Because what happened the first time you didn't do anything, it will happen again. And some of you fall in love so soon. You don't take time to say, I want to break the tie with the other relationship. There's a place in Sunnyside, Brooklyn here. They call it Love Lockers. If you have not been there, you are not in love. Yeah. Victoria. The day I went there, I took a picture. The padlock I see there will be not less than 2,000 padlocks. That is where they will go and lock their love. Tebo and Lerato in love. 2 months later, love disappeared. And the padlock is still there. Even if you went and break the padlock physically, what you said cannot be broken. Unless by the help of a prophet and by the help of prayer and fasting and sacrifice, you can't break it. David has to go to them. What do you need for atonement? That's how to break certain covenants. Hello?
Amen.
You should ask yourself, why is my mother like this? Why is my father like this? There are covenants. You need to break. Hello?
Amen.
Talk to me.
Amen.
There are covenants. Do you wonder why in those days our fathers don't kill themselves because of a woman? Do you wonder? Unlike now, people shoot themselves. Have you seen men who hang themselves because of a woman? A lot of them. Our fathers in those days, they don't bother themselves like that. That's why they have 3, 4, 7, 8, 11, 12, 21 wives. But those things are covenant in nature. Are you with me?
Amen.
One of my friends, one day I said, what number are you in your father's? He said, I don't know. I only know my mother. I'm number 3. But my father, we should be about 34 of us. That guy used to call me a friend Igbo. Some of you will be here. That's my friend. Friend Igbo. We should be around 34, 36. His father just died and they buried him last week. When he sent me the program, unknown children, he said, the man is a strong man. Very strong. And he lived so long. Almost about 110. Why? Because he has so many wives. No stress. If this one is giving him stress, he moves to the house of that one. No stress. But the children will bear the consequences. The day you don't want a woman to stress you, you can't. In fact, thank God for women. Are you with me? Women are one of the reasons why you must make money. You can't afford to die poor. If you want to die poor, a woman will say, wake up, go and work. The motivation for making money is women. At least if there is anything, we should appreciate women for that.
Amen.
They are the motivation for what? For you to make money.
Amen.
If a woman does not eat your money, you are a poor man.
Amen.
In fact, the middle name of a woman is money.
Amen.
No money, no honey.
Amen.
I have a friend, anytime his wife is fighting him, he will not talk. He will just go to the ATM, get some brand new notes. As he entered the house like this, and the woman wants to start, he will just be praying the woman. The woman who has been fighting and shouting will bend down picking the money.
Amen.
Useless man. Pocket the money. Is that not the best way to settle quarrel with your wife? If you are that wife, every day you'll be bringing fight. Knowing that something will drop. Child. Thank God. Say with me, covenant. Number 2, vows. Vows have made many tired dwarfs. So with me, vows. Write it down. Vows. Jephthah made a vow unto God. He went to go and pray and said, God, my life is not going well. I've told you what Jephthah did. It's not what we're taught in Sunday school. Jephthah didn't go to war to make a vow that whoever come to see me first. The Bible showed us that he went to pray and make inquiries from God. I am a captain. I am a mighty man, but yet nothing is going well with me. My siblings don't want to see me. It's like I'm an outcast. Nothing is going on well. And he said, whoever is behind this matter, I made a vow to give them to you. And as he came back from that prayer mountain, from that inquiry from God, from that battle, it was his daughter that come to greet him first. And the Bible said, and Jephthah torn his clothes. Judges chapter 6. And chapter 8, and Jephthah torn his clothes and said, oh my daughter, you have been among them that have brought me low. And Jephthah didn't kill her. He sent her away. She's a virgin. But go and read your Bible very well. She died a virgin. She was never married. She died a virgin. Vows. Some of you, a white man have done something to your father or your great-great-grandfather. A white man have done something, and your father vowed that any of his child that will marry a white man, that woman will never be happy in her life. And you, a white man, toasting you now, and you are not praying. A white man is asking your hand in marriage and you are not doing anything. Why would God say to some of the Bible characters, don't go there to marry, don't go there to marry, don't go there to marry, thou shalt not take a wife from this tribe, thou shalt not take it. Why? There are certain vows on ground. Many want to do well in life, but never knew that there are vows hanging on their head. Shout every satanic vows.
Every satanic vow
Of my life,
of my life,
break by fire.
break by fire.
So God respect your vows. And vow taking is very important to God. If you don't take vows, you cannot have some certain blessings with God. But I'm talking about vows that are on ground to stop your greatness in life. Look at Ecclesiastes chapter 5 verse 4. He said it is better not to vow than to vow and not fulfill it.
Yes.
Look at that. Verse 4. He says, when thou vowest a vow unto God, vow not to pay them, for he has no pleasure in fools. Pay that which thou hast what? Vow. Pay that which thou hast vowed. Look at verse 6. It will interest you. He said, if you don't do it, I will destroy the works of your hands. Huh?
Yes.
Suffer not thy mouth to cause thy flesh to sin. When you made a vow, God expects you to pay them. Neither say thou before the angel that it was an error. Wherefore should God be angry at that voice, and destroy the works of their hands? Look at me. This is how it works. Some vows are on ground in your life, hanging over your life, that you need to break. How do you break them? You also must make a vow to God and pay those vows. You need to do that. If you go to verse 5, you will see how dreams, verse 3, how dreams, verse 5, how dreams, some certain dreams are coming because some certain things are not done right. Say with me, vows. Some of you, there are vows over your life that needs to be broken as a seed for your manifestation to come. Amen.
Amen.
Shout every vow hanging over my head.
Every vow.
Shout it like you really shout every vow hanging over my head.
Every vow hanging.
Break by fire.
Break by fire.
Number 3 enemies of the seed is the oath. Say with me, oath. Anna made an oath with God to dedicate Samuel. He said to God, God, I need a child. You need a prophet. Give me a child and I will give you a prophet. Did you see covenant?
Yes.
Vows and oath. And God signed to it. It looks like a vow. God signed to it. Without knowing to Samuel that he has been dedicated to a shrine. Take for instance, if Anna didn't know any other God except the God of Israel, if not the God of the Hebrews that she knows, what about other strange gods? Samuel would have been dedicated like that. If Samuel has ever dreamed to be a lawyer or a doctor or a whatever, he would not have prospered. He would be a judge and bail lawyer. Yes, he's a lawyer. But his shirt is, you will see that this one is a struggling lawyer. He will be a doctor. Yes, he will be struggling as a doctor. Not knowing there is an oath even before he was born. I don't know the oath that says you will not be great in life. Today that oath shall be broken.
Amen.
I can't hear your loud amen.
Amen.
God entered an oath and swore an oath with Abraham and said to Abraham, thy seed will not be numbered on the face of the earth. He said, look at the sky. He said, I can see stars. He said, so thy seed be. He took him by the sea. He said, look at the sands in the seashore. He said, they cannot be numbered. He said, that is how I'm going to make thy seed. But one day, David in 2 Samuel chapter 24, verse 1 to 3, wanted to count the Israelites, wanted to number them. Census is a normal government apparatus. It's a normal way for a government to know how many died, how many are alive, and what we need to prepare, the provision we need to make for them. That's the normal way. But when an oath is on ground, what is normal to others become abnormal to you. Hello?
Amen.
When an oath is there, what others will do without any consequences, if you try it, you will pay for it. When an oath is there, every woman must be married, every man must marry. But when an oath is there, what is normal? When an oath is there, even giving birth to a child may not be normal to you. Why? Because an oath is on ground. Today, that oath shall be broken.
Amen.
I can hear your loud amen.
Amen.
Number 4, as I begin to close, is a curse. Don't forget, number 1, I said covenant. Number 2, I said what? Number 3, I said what? Number 4, I said what? You must specifically break some certain curse in your life. There is no day you will see a woman going to a labor room and singing, you are great, yes you are. Mighty God. Hey, you walk upon the sea, you raise the dead. You reign in majesty. Holy One. Hey, I'm going to deliver everything about you is great. You are great. You are great. And the doctor say, woman push. They say, I'm singing first. You are great. You are great. You are great. You are great. Oh, you are great. I've done 4, so I know what I'm talking. When you see a woman enter the labor room, all the chakara women have, they don't have. Thank God for you in church. If you go to a labor, if you see a woman there with all the beauty, with all naked, why is it like that? A curse was on ground. He said, "In pain thou shall give birth." Pain. Yes, Jesus died, but that's not changed. Hello? Has it changed? No. It has not changed. But that you are a child of God doesn't mean that if you are owing your landlord now, you have paid the debt. It does not change your skin color. Being redeemed by Christ does not change your skin color. Does not change what you are owing in the bank. You still need to pay them. That is the effect, the consequences of curses. Noah caused Canaan, the grandson. He said, Canaan, you shall serve. Because why? You looked at my nakedness. Don't forget, Noah was drunk. So you as a seed, you must come to the understanding of breaking some certain curses. Number 5, the enemy of the seed is household wickedness. What do I call it? In 2 Kings chapter 11 from verse 1 to 6, you see Adeoye, the mother of Adeoye. The Bible said, when he saw that his son died, he rose up and started killing all the royal seed. You as a seed must understand that there is a power in your father's house that want to kill you. That want to what? The king of Swati, look up. the present king of Swati, I think is the third richest king in the world today. In that culture, the woman that must produce the next king must only have one child, and that child must be a boy. Are you with me? And the king, as powerful as he is, anytime he sleeps with a woman, that woman must be pregnant. So powerful. I think by now, last year was the 19th wives he was marrying. I don't know this year yet. So for the king to be one of the eight of the king advised this woman, the mother of the present king, he said, you know what? You only have one boy. And every other woman in the palace, they have one or two or three. And according to culture, you are the only woman who can produce the next king. And if the king should handle you again, you will be pregnant too. So woman, take your boy and run. They ran to London. When the king died, that was when they came back. There is no other king. There is no other woman that has no other children. Though they have boys, they have sons, but it must be the only child, and it must be a boy. The woman rose up and killed all the royal seed when he saw that his own child died. Some of you are the royal seed, you are the king to the throne, and the devil is fighting you so hard, yet you do not know. I pray for you, may your eyes open this morning.
Amen.
So what do I need to do as a seed to fulfill destiny? Number one, rededicate your life to God. Write it down. Rededicate your life. That is the key. That is the way to it. Are you with me? If you have been dedicated wrongly, you need to dedicate yourself to the true God. Rededicate. Psalm 27 verse 4. David said, one thing have I desire of the Lord, that I may dwell in his house and to inquire in his temple. Psalm 27 verse 4. You need to understand. Rededicate yourself. Rededicate. Devote your life, your time, everything about you to that God. Don't forget your parents didn't do that. They were busy with their own stuff. Now you are in church. Now you have the knowledge. Now you have the idea of who God is. Why don't you give your totality of your life to Him? I was praying with a brother, and the Lord opened my eyes to see that his grandfather used to sell alcohol. That even on a Monday morning, children will go to the pub, to the tavern, to the club to bring their fathers home. They will be carrying their father inside the gutter like this. In the process, some of those children place a curse upon the shop that is selling alcohol to their parents. You now you are in church. You don't know what your parents have done. Some of you, your parents or grandparents, made a motels, a place where prostitutes go, and you want to have a good life. It doesn't happen that way. Your father, your grandfather destroys people's life, so you can't escape it. You have to break some certain things. Number one, by dedicating your whole life to that God. Number two, which is like it, partner with God and constantly raise altar to God. Write it down. Partner with God. Always partner with God. Always partner with God. One day my mother said to me, he was waiting the king to see And the usher said, hey, Mama, you know your son will not take it home. Please, you can't be on the queue. He said, no, I will be on the queue. He said, but he's coming home. He said, no, he doesn't have time for me at home. I want to see him here too. And as he comes before me, I said, why are you waiting? You know I'm coming home. He said, I'm glad that God raised a prophet among my children. Look at me. He said, I would have been surprised if God have not. I said, what do you mean? He said, look at this church. There is nothing in this church that they buy that my 20 rand, 40 rand, 100 rand will not be part of it. He said, including the keyboard. When the pastor announced that we need a keyboard, I must contribute. He said, there is nothing. Let me point to your hand to it. Anytime a need is announced, I'm always part of it. Don't forget that one day I told you he had 2 pockets where he's putting money and then putting his tithe. I asked, why are you doing that? He said, I don't want to mix my tithe with the money. Partner with God and constantly raise altar to God. Partner with God. Partner with God. I took that early from God. I took that. The man who made this altar, the furniture guy, when we left the whole church, I said to the people, I said, no, we are not destroying the altar because I can't destroy the altar I built. We left it. By the time we are doing this one, this man has been struggling all his life. The first night he started, the morning as he woke up, he got a call. Somebody called him. He said, from today, you are no longer going to pay rent in South Africa. Gave him a permanent house, permanent for him. This guy took me to the white guy. I said, I want to see. He sent me the picture of the house. I was amazed. First morning, as he wakes up here, but I really know who I'm talking about. As he was building the altar, what he charged me, he said, sir, I don't need that money anymore. He never took a dime from me, except what we used to buy the material. See, I don't need it anymore. As I speak, he came last week to show me the second cash he has bought. He came here last week. He said there is something on this altar I contacted from the day I made it. My life and business has never been the same. Always partner with God. Constantly raise altar to God. You know why? Because you have been dedicated to a wrong place. So you still have a work to do prayerfully and physically. And lastly, live a life of praise. Live a what? Praising God is not helping God. Praising God is helping your destiny. When you praise God, look up, look up. David said, 3 times will I pray. Morning, afternoon, and night. But when he gets to praise, he says, 7 times will I praise. If you do to God what he can't do to himself, he will do to you what you can't do for yourself. He can't praise himself. He wants us. He said, these people I have formed to offer unto me praise. Isn't it? Stand to your feet. Learn to be a worshiper. Many of us are just, all we know is to sing. That's why a singer does not qualify you as a worshiper. Hello? Yeah. Talk to me. Are you with me? Many of you are too Even looking at you, people will know that you're not happy. So full of complaint. Everybody's your enemy. Nothing is working. I even hate to be alive. I don't know, even if it's getting too much cold now. Nothing. If it's hot, it's too much hot. We take too long in church. Every day complain of your life. Your life is full of complaint. Can't you see that nothing good has ever happened to you? Why? Because you don't learn how to praise Him. Give me Psalm 67, verse 3. He said, let the people praise Thee. Oh God, let the people praise Thee. Ooh, when you know how to praise God, there are three forms of praise you must understand. Your personal praise. Your what? Your what? Let the people praise Him. And let all the people corporate praise. Corporate. Many of you can dance now, but when you get home, something tells you it's over. Let the people. Give me verse 4. I love this. Whew, this scripture has changed my life. Entire life. Oh, let the nation be glad. And let them sing for joy. For thou shalt judge the people righteously and govern the nation upon the earth. Verse 5. Anytime you see seller, it means pause. Pause and think about it. Look at verse 5. Let the people repeat it after you have taught seller, after you have taught, after you have pondered on what I said. Let the people praise Thee, O God. Let all the people. Verse 6. Then shall the earth. So you as a seed, you are meant to be a worshiper, a praise. Look at me. When Paul and Silas were praising God, don't forget, in the days of Peter, he sent an angel to go and release Peter. When Paul and Silas were praising, because that is up to God. Prayer, He will send an angel. He will come and take His praise. He will send an angel to go and take it. When He said, who are those singing in the midnight? That was when the foundation of the prison were shaking. You want to be out of oppression and affliction? Learn to praise God. He said, then our God shall bless us. Look at verse 7. He said, even He will bless us, and the end of the earth will fear Him. By the instrumentality of praise. So singing is not praising God. How do you praise Him? Look at me from the depth of your heart. From what? You pledge your allegiance to Him. From the depth of your heart. I'm a seed, and I'm going through some battle, but yet I will praise Him. Yet I will praise Him. He said, victory may not blossom, but yet I will praise Him. The olive tree may not bring forth increase as I expected, but yet I will praise Him. I have made my choice to rejoice. Paul will always say, rejoice in the Lord. I say again, rejoice. Because you see the battle you are facing, He wants to kill your joy. There is nothing the devil is doing but after your joy. And that's what I find so much. I make sure you don't kill my joy. Because it is with that joy I will draw wells. I will draw water out of the wells of salvation. Isaiah 12 verse 3. It is with that joy. It is with that joy. It is with that joy I will draw water out of the wells of salvation. Learn to live in joy. Isaiah 12 verse 3 studio. Learn to live in perpetual joy. Therefore with joy shall ye draw water. You can see an unhappy pastor, prophet, prophesying. So I make sure nothing stops my joy. What do? I listen to music. I listen to reports that give me joy. Anything. If you are bringing your sad news and your bad news, I say, hey, that's it all. Go. What gives me joy is what I want to see. Amen. Always keep unhappy people away from your life. Every time they call you, all they say is things are bad. Things are bad. Sir, if your wife calls you now and starts saying there is no pipe in the house, there is no oil in the house, another day he calls you, there is no water in the house, there is no salt in the house, there is no sugar in the house. Another day he calls you, there is no bread in the house. Will you pick the call again? Why? Because all you hear is there is no salt in the house, there is no water in the house. Not even, baby, I miss you. When your wife calls you baby, don't you know that you need to go for immunization? Learn to live in joy and you will enjoy life. That's the key to life. Create an atmosphere of what? Of joy. Listen to music that brings joy. You know why I don't watch news? There is nothing good about it. All they tell you is somebody have just shot himself in Mushogo. A Sangoma just killed 7 people in Arabia. That's what you see on the news. Learn how to keep your heart. It is with that joy you will draw wells. Water out of the wells of salvation. Lift up your hands. Lift up your hands. I want you to pray. Lord, I am here today. Help me to live for you. I dedicate my life again to you. Open your mouth. Speak to the Lord. I dedicate my life to you. I dedicate my life to you. I dedicate my life to you. Sinner, forgive me. Forgive me all my sins. Wash me with your blood. From today, give me grace to be called your child. Help me, Lord. In Jesus' mighty name we have prayed. Say, Father, from today, keep away from me whatever wants to destroy me as a seed. Open your mouth and cry to the Lord. Keep away from me. Speak to the Lord. Either you are watching my television or my internet. I want you to lift up your voice. Lord, keep away from me whatever is destroying me as a seed. Lord, keep away from me. Keep away from me. Lezuzu pratatata. Ike tenizwata yazwakitela. Lord, in Jesus' mighty name we have prayed. Say, Father, from today, I dedicate my life to you. I surrender my life to you. Holding back nothing. I surrender all to you. Open your mouth and cry to the Lord. Cry to the Lord. I surrender all to you. Speak to the Lord. Lift up your hands, brother. Lift up your voice, sister. Lord, from today. Zazikito lakatatata. We told you nothing. nothing. Give myself away so you can use me. Give myself away. Give myself away so you can use me. In Jesus' mighty name. Amen. Look at me. Have you seen a doctor becoming a pastor? Have you seen a lawyer becoming a pastor? That you are missed this doesn't mean that you can't find it. Samuel will have struggled as a lawyer, but he found himself where he was dedicated to. Amen. I wish you know how much I struggle to do this work. Oh, I said to God, I want to be a successful businessman. But God said, you are meant to serve. When I was leaving Nigeria for the first time, my mother was with me and she burst into tears. Why is she crying? Because she knew I am sold out for the cause of the gospel. She knew. I want you to pray. Lift up your hand. Say, Father, any battle fighting me as a seed, every altar speaking against me as a seed, lift up your hands, everybody, wherever you are. Shout, every covenant speaking against me as a seed, let it be broken this morning. Every hope, every curse, every vow, hanging on my life, household wickedness that want to destroy me, Father, let them be destroyed. Open your mouth, open your mouth, let them be destroyed. Wow, Zuzu, break it in Jesus' mighty name we have prayed. Look at me. If you are a Nigerian here, you will know this proverb. Our parents used to say, when you are given battle by somebody, you yourself must do what? Give birth to yourself. You must give birth to yourself. Somebody gave birth to you, you also must give birth to yourself. That is why anywhere you see a Nigerian, they can never carry last. Because they have given birth to themselves, some in good, some in bad. Every national has have that. Thank God I'm a Nigerian. If not for that, if I die and I happen to come back, I still want to be a Nigerian. There is a blood that runs in your system. If you are a Nigerian, you can never be poor. You can never be at the back. You will always want to succeed. That's what you should run after. You must learn how to give back to yourself again. Amen. Amen. Somebody have dedicated you somewhere. Dedicate yourself to God again.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. If you open a shop on Sunday in Nigeria and you are selling or you are doing anything on Sunday, the whole world will crash on you. People say, is this how you are looking for money? I said, come to South Africa. In fact, some people will not even come to church. Where are they? At work. On a Sunday. Learn to dedicate yourself to God. And that's why everything you have goes to Him. If you are not a tither, Tell me, what you are to give from, is it not the one that provided it? Is it not? It's the one that provided. We ask you to give sacrifice now, but some of you are, I don't have. It's the one that provided that money for you. So is he the owner? And he's asking you, take 90, give me 10. Is that not a fair play? Even the 10, you are still dragging it. May God forgive you. Amen. I said, may God forgive you. Amen. For some of you here, God said, tell them to sow a seed for manifestation. They have been hearing things. Now I want to make it manifest for them. If they can do this for me. And God wants to take that from you this morning. Lord, I am sowing this seed for my manifestation. I'll prepare that. Everybody here. If you don't want this year to just be a year in passing, you want to see something meaningful in this year, sow that seed. Everybody. I'm going to take that after your offering. Amen. But for those who want to tithe and partnership, those who want to sacrifice to God, please be seated. Let's package our tithe.